What's up guys, it's ALLDAYANTHONY. Welcome back to the Civic vlog that you hopefully know and hopefully love. And in today's video, we're installing the DC Sports one-piece header on my Honda Civic. Let's go. Oh wow. Alright, so I know many of you have been looking forward to this video as much as I have. So in today's video, we're going to be installing the DC Sports ceramic one-piece 4-into-1 header on the D-Series motor. And after that, we're going to go take it for a drive to see what kind of difference it makes in the driving experience, whether it's little or big, and give you my thoughts on the modification. Now, I've had a lot of people also make questions and comments and ask why I am dumping money into the D-Series motor when obviously this car deserves a swap. Well, to be honest guys, the goal is to swap this car eventually, but in the meantime, I'm trying to make the most of the D-Series motor and try to make content that's most relatable to people watching. Many of you have a D-Series over a swap, and I know that this is useful information for all of you. Eventually, I'd like to get to a swap. It's just right now in this immediate time, it's not the biggest priority. And when I want to go fast, I have that, and I also have that over there to kind of hold me over, but eventually the plan is to swap this. But again, we're going to make the most of the D-Series while it's in the car and try to do mods that are most relatable to everybody watching. So to save some time, I've already gotten started on the install. I got the car jacked up and supported on all 4 jack stands. You've seen me do that 100 times by now, so you don't need to see me do it again. And then from there, I took off the front heat shield here, which is a couple bolts here, 1 bolt down below. Now, like me, if you have the stock under tray, you're going to want to remove that thing. It's pretty easy to remove. It's 3 10mm bolts and a couple screw style pop clips. Drop that down and you're going to create plenty of room for yourself to be able to drop the old header down and then bring the new header up. From there, you're going to want to spray everything down with PB Blaster. And I mean, spray it down pretty damn good. These cars are not new, they are old cars, and things going to be pretty crusty. So sprayed everything down with PB Blaster, let that sit. Now, obviously, if you're tackling this install, don't do it on a hot engine. Wait for it to cool down, spray everything down with PB Blaster, and you should be good to go. So at this point, we're ready for the install, but I have a box right over here that we need to open up. So needless to say, it feels like Christmas again over a month later. Now, if you haven't already seen the DC Sports strut bar install for the front and rear, I highly recommend going and checking that video out. These things are freaking beautiful. I love them. I've been driving on them for a couple weeks now, and they did make a huge difference in the driving experience. Anyways, big box here, a couple small packages here. So what I did is I ended up getting a new exhaust manifold gasket here for the header. So you could reuse the old one, but guys, these things are getting to be 20 years old, and so it's probably time to replace it. Pretty cheap. I think I got this on Amazon. I want to say it was 20, 30 bucks or something, and that is the OEM version, not an aftermarket version. So I want to go OEM on everything to make sure everything fits up snugly. I also got an OEM donut gasket here. So another thing I highly recommend replacing: when we did the install of the Yonaka Catback, we actually ended up removing the cat because we were having some bad issues with some bolts. And so once we removed everything, we didn't replace the donut gasket there. We just reused it. And so I wanted to get a new one just to make sure everything snugs up tightly. So anyway, enough talking. Let's get to unboxing. All right, first thing we got here, instructions. I'm probably gonna read these this time. So instructions, we have the O2 extender harness here. So I think mine might be able to reach. If it's not able to reach, then we'll just extend it with this right here, because we do have to remove the O2 sensor off the existing header. And I do have an O2, what's it called? The attachment, what the heck you want to call that? The socket attachment. So I do have that, which should make things pretty easy. So I want to say that this is CARB compliant in pretty much every state, which is pretty cool. So this is beautiful. Seriously, this is super nice, man. This is super, super nice. Let's tear it open. That's nice, man. This is pretty light too. Guys, I really think that this is gonna look good. I'm hoping it functions as good as it looks, but I'm super pumped on that. That looks awesome. close the garage for a second to warm up because as usual it's 40 degrees outside and I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt, but I threw on some coveralls here, man, that I'm pretty stoked on. Got these at the Army Navy supply store for like 20 bucks. And my wife thinks they look sexy when I wear them, so I got that going for me, which is nice. I wanted to show you guys something pretty cool over here. So these are the old BBS off of my Evo 9. I have two sets of BBS. I have the stock MR version, which is these ones, and I also have the SE version. The SE are still the original color, and I have those on some winter tires. But I had these re-powder coated just a couple days ago in a gloss black. I had them shoot it cold. I don't know the terminology for powder coating, but it was cold shot or cold something versus going in hot. So I didn't want as much gloss. I wanted kind of like a medium between super glossy and satin, and this is kind of how it came out. And I think it looks pretty damn good. So if you guys have any tire recommendations, leave them down in the comments because I have my eyes on a couple more performance summer tires, but I haven't quite dialed in exactly what I want. So, but anyways, these look killer. I need to get the center caps in, tires on, black on gray, always looks good. We got some work to do, so let's jump in. All right, so it's gonna be pretty tight in here, guys, so hopefully you'll be able to see something on camera. If not, I apologize. It's gonna be this O2 sensor here. It's just a clip style. Got it. Keeping the O2 sensor in. No need to take that out because that's gonna be going to the new one. So don't try to attempt to take it out. Just unclip that. It's gonna make your life much easier. And if you're doing this on a Y7 motor, I believe your O2 sensor is closer to the front of the header, if I remember right, on my old Honda Civic. Next up is gonna be, I think these are 12 millimeters. And then this is gonna be a 12, and this is gonna be a 14 on this side. And we're just gonna start counter cranking. Since I broke these loose, what was it, last year is when I did this? These should be still pretty easy to remove. If not, I do have the impact. I just don't think I'm gonna have to. I think I'll be able to do this with a wrench. And so get these undone, two here, one here, and then we'll do the topmost of the header, drop those bolts, and then slide everything down. That should be it. So if you don't have yourself a set of ratcheting little wrenches like this, highly recommend, man. These things are freaking life-changing. And so 12 and a 14. Yes. Yes. Thank God. That is a shitty one, isn't it? There's nothing better than hearing something break loose that you hate so much. So something you guys don't have to do, but I'm just doing because it makes things a little bit easier, is I'm actually dropping down this lower section of the header first. And so I just undid these three 14 millimeter bolts. This is going to drop down, and I can push it off this stud right here. There we go. But I think the new header mounts up to that though. This piece alone weighs as much as the new header does. Yeah, I would actually say that this weighs more. We're done with this for right now until we take off that O2 sensor. All right, so lastly here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 millimeter nuts we have to take off. So take them off the studs here off the manifold, and then we're just gonna drop that down. All right, so this O2 sensor is gonna be a pain in the ass. I've been trying to hack at it here for, I don't know, like 10 minutes or so. So I'm gonna try something. I don't think you probably should do this, but I'm just gonna see what happens and just kind of send it. So I have it on the impact on the big Milwaukee with the attachment. Let's pray this goes okay. Oh, no way. No way. Oh man, I freaking love this tool. I freaking love that. Amazing, amazing. All right, so I have the manifold gasket off. I'm just gonna kind of clean this up a little bit, not make too much of a mess. There's just some kind of sand and loose debris. Wire brush here, and then a little bit of a microfiber towel, and a little bit of cleaning solution. Non-flammable cleaning solution, but I just want to kind of clean up this stuff so when that new gasket seats, it seats nice and well. All right, so before we put the O2 sensor in, we're gonna put a little anti-seize. And so for this, I'm just going to crack open this packet, grab just a little bit on a Q-tip because you don't need a whole lot. Take our threads here and just brush a little bit on. Then what I'll do is I'll put just a little bit on the actual header portion. All right guys, so I pulled the O2 sensor off because I think it's gonna give me a little bit more clearance in dropping it in. I don't wanna pinch anything, so I pulled that off. I kinda started basically lifting it from the bottom, trying to do a test fit. It felt a little bit too tight, so we're gonna try it again. So O2 sensor's off, bring it in from the bottom, lift it up, and we'll see what happens. So what you need to do is you need to hook the header onto the mounting portion onto the underside where you have the two, I believe 12 or 14 millimeter bolts. So you need to mount it to that first and then push it into the cat. Then from there, you're good to go. Because if you try to drop it down and mount it onto the actual head there first, you're gonna find problems because if you miss that bracket, then you're kind of screwed. So having two people, obviously a ton of help. I'm doing this by myself. So get it onto that lip first, kind of rest it somewhere in here. And then once you have it in there, now we can pull it up without any issues. So what I need to do is pull that forward and then start to slide that over. All right guys, it's time to torque these things down now. So it's 23 foot-pounds, and how this works is you're gonna start from the middle and then work your way out alternating sides. So you got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Does that make sense? So we're gonna go in. All right guys, so we're pretty much done. Everything is sewed up top here. Everything is sewed up down below, tightened up, torqued to spec. So we're pretty much good to go and start it up. However, I am going to wipe down the headers. That way I don't have any fingerprints that burn onto them. And I'm probably gonna wipe down the pipe underneath because I'm crazy. I'm kind of bummed, man. I got a couple scuffs on the frontmost part here. So not up top here, but right underneath here. So not that I'm planning on doing an AC delete or anything like that, but those scratches would be noticeable. So you can kind of see a couple dings right there, but dude, I tried my best. I probably should have taped it. I feel kind of dumb, but I was in a rush. I was in a hurry. I wanted to see what it was going to look like, and so I should have taken just a little more time, and usually I do, but oh well. Still looks good to me, man. As my friend Levi says, it's good enough for the girls that I go out with, so looks good. All right, guys, so I got the car back on the ground, got everything mostly cleaned up, got myself kind of cleaned up. Hands are a little dirty. I'm even repping the DC Sport shirt to get the full experience. Now, before we go for a drive, a couple key points I wanted to talk about. So this particular header right here does fit pretty much all 92 to 2000 Honda Civics minus the SI. So if you have an LX, DX, EX, this will fit because it comes with everything you need to make it work, which is why it came with that extra harness to extend the O2 sensor, but I did not end up needing that. Now, this particular header right here is a 4-into-1 header, right? There's a difference. They did make, or they still do make, a 4-to-1 header, which is a 2-piece part header. So this is a single all one piece. Now, I read online, and I don't know how accurate this is. Somebody can kind of back this up with more information, but apparently the 4-to-1 in terms of dyno results made more low end power, whereas the 4-into-1 made more top end power. And so I don't know, I'll have to see what the butt dyno says once we take it for a spin, but somebody can correct me, but I think that information is pretty much correct. So all in all, install went fantastic. I don't really have any complaints. I highly recommend spraying everything with PB Blaster if you go to do this yourself. And then also, the thing I regret most is probably not taping up the front of the header there as I was pulling it in, because like I said, I got a couple small scuffs there. Nothing crazy, just because I'm crazy, it's gonna bother me, but whatever, it is what it is. So anyways, we're going to jump in the car. I'm gonna give you guys some after shots here really quick just to show you what it looks like, and then we're gonna go for a drive. All right, guys, so we're in the car. I came to the same place I came last time for the strut bars. I kind of just like driving around this area, to be honest. But in terms of driving over here, honestly, not a whole lot to report. I didn't get on it at all. I didn't really even take it over $4,000. I just kind of drove pretty modestly. I noticed a little bit more of a growl out of kind of maybe the front or the rear. I can't really tell, but slightly more. Not loud, but just a little bit more something, right? The car seemed a little bit more responsive in terms of just kind of initial throttle response seemed more responsive. It could be like a placebo thing, I'm not really sure. But basically, DC Sports makes this header to where it's a great OEM replacement slash like OEM plus style replacement. So if you have a bad header on your car, this is a great replacement rather than buying a new one from Honda. It's much, much cheaper. So, and you get the benefit of some slight gains there. So overall though, we're just gonna go take it for a rip. I'm gonna give you guys my honest thoughts. I think it looks good. That's half the battle right there. If it performs well, as good, or if not better than what I had previously, I'm a happy camper. I have nothing to complain about. So we're just gonna take around this back road here, probably go up towards Hidden Springs area, get on a little bit, crack into some VTEC, see if it got any louder, see how good it sounds, and give you guys my final thoughts, and we'll call it good. Take it right here and see how it sounds. Sorry people, I'm gonna go loud. Oh wow. That chirp second, guys. I mean, I know you probably couldn't hear it on camera, and those people probably hate me, but that felt pretty good. Felt pretty good. Maybe it's been a minute since I've gotten on it in the car, but it's still slow as shit. I've told you guys that time and time again, but for what that was, not bad, man. Not bad. That crossover, I don't know what it is. I honestly, man, I think my VTEC just hits different. I don't know. It's got a decent crossover for a D16, and everybody says that, and I don't know. AEM intake, Yonaka exhaust, DC Sport header. That's all I got. That's all I got, and it's got a killer crossover. I'm gonna slow it down, drop it down to second, praying there's not a cop around this corner. We'll see. That crossover, I'm telling you guys, that crossover got louder. Absolutely, 100%. I will say that this definitely feels more responsive, especially on the downshifts. All right, here we go. This looks promising, maybe. Oh yeah, dude, that chirped that for sure. Dang, man. It wants to go. It does. It's just, that's all it's got. But you can tell, it's like the little, I don't know, man. It's like the little engine that could. It's like, let's go. And I'm like, you can't, you're slow, but you know, it's cute that you want to do that. So, I don't know, man. That felt good to me. Shit. All right, guys. So, butt dyno results. There definitely is a bump. I can't really say where it is, but I definitely say the VTEC cracks harder, it hits harder. I'm chirping now, which I wasn't really chirping before. I mean, if I really banged on it, I could. But this is kind of just a rev it out, shift. There's a chirp right there. So there was definitely an increase. But overall, man, I would say that's not just the header that obviously made the difference and said, like, this is the best thing ever. It's kind of the combination of everything else, right? So basically the intake, the exhaust, and the header kind of create that pretty great NA experience in terms of a D16 Y8. So still has VTEC, still has a great crossover. I'm sure if you were to throw this into a Y7 without VTEC, I think you would still see an improvement for sure. And you have longer gears to bang out to as well in the Y7. So it's a dog. How cute. But overall, I would say I'm pretty satisfied. I want to give a huge shout out to DC Sports for sending out this header. I think it did improve this, man. I think that it did improve the driving experience. And so it's definitely going to make this motor a lot more fun to drive while this motor is in the car. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, Anthony, wait till you swap it. Wait till you do this. guys, I know what a fast car feels like. I typically just compare this car to what it once was, right? When I first got it as that normal, everyday, gas-saving commuter, and that's what it was. I mean, it was, 4x4 height and everything else, and like all the different mods I've kind of put on it over the last couple of years to get it where it is now, and it's a lot more fun to drive. It's improved the driving experience, and I think this is one of those things that kind of adds to it, and hopefully this is relevant for you guys that have a D-Series that don't necessarily want to swap or turbo or build that car, but want to have some fun with it for not a ton of money. So overall, guys, it's got my sign of approval. Again, shout out to DC Sports for sending this out. And as always, guys, if you guys like this video and like the Civic content, make sure to give me a big thumbs up. Subscribe down below for more, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. This is ALLDAYANTHONY. Peace.